Okay, good evening, everyone. Let's go ahead and get started with our meeting. This is the October 8th meeting of the Waynesboro Area School District Board of Directors. Please stand for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, happy fall to everyone. Let's go ahead and start our meeting with roll call.
Ms. Zimmerman is currently not present. Dr. Royer?
Here.
Mr. Marvin?
Here.
Mr. Hamburger?
Here.
Mrs. Miles?
Here.
Mrs. Courtney?
Here.
Mr. Pence?
Here.
Mrs. Straight? Here. Mr. Smith?
Here. Okay, and we move to approval of tonight's agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'd like to make a change to the agenda. We could remove her from the agenda.
Second, with the removal of C1.
Hold on
Or maybe not.
The computer is. Okay, who was the first? I'm gonna have to handwrite this. Sorry.
I wasn't making a motion because I'm not permitted to do so, but I was asking,
Right,
Mr. Smith, can we
Mhm.
please remove?
I did it.
Okay,
Lloyd and.
And then James second.
Yeah, I'll second
Okay.
with the
right,
removal.
the agenda
Thank
approved
you.
with the removal of C1.
Yes. Mhm.
The Lloyd. Marvin. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, any other questions or additions, subtractions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
It's not gonna come up on your screen.
Okay. All right. Okay, so we move to the approval of our minutes from our September 24th meeting. Is there a motion?
To approve.
Second.
Okay, questions or comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and we move to our superintendent's report. Dr. Sternenheim.
thank you, Mr. Smith. So once again, I'd like to welcome all our civics friends as well as their parents. We appreciate you attending our school board meeting this evening. A couple just general announcements. WAMS had a very successful walkathon. I believe they raised over $30,000. Other elementary schools are also participating in their annual walkathon. Dr. DeShawn, Mrs. Everhart, and myself met with the PTO presidents last week to try to do some brainstorming for fundraisers moving forward and transportation costs. This week, we do have teacher in service on Friday. WASH also has some conferences scheduled. And on Monday, we have, I don't know how many years we've been doing it, but it's the elementary track meet, and it's always a fun time at the Buchanan Auto Park Stadium. So want to welcome everyone. I believe it starts,
That's why I was gonna ask you, what's this times it start and stop?
where's my elementary
9
friends?
o'clock.
9 o'clock?
9 o'clock?
Thank you.
Will we be done by a certain
It says 9 to 1.
9 to 1? Okay.
I believe that's when the actual meet starts.
Registration is at 8:30.
Registration is at
Oh,
8:30.
Star Spangled Banner is at 8:55.
Okay.
Okay.
That's what I was ready to say.
I can't even.
So we have budget at 2, right?
Yes. My child will be done running by that point.
Be great. I
Okay.
can't get it on my agenda, so
I'm gonna move to another one.
Yeah, it's 2 o'clock since it's a.
doing a present.
Okay, moving on this side, sorry. So the PSBA's Honor Roll of School Board Service Program celebrates school board directors for a long-term service and recognizes their dedication to their local districts and communities. Bestowing a certificate represents our appreciation for their work and their steadfast commitments to their students. This year, the Honor Roll program celebrates 40 years of recognizing our long-term school leaders, and with this anniversary comes some exciting updates to the program. Now, when school directors reach 5 years of service, and for every 5 years thereafter, PSBA is pleased to offer them an honor roll certificate. Certificates for your board members who have reached these milestones are enclosed. And so that is what we are presenting tonight. The first honor roll school board service of 7 years is awarded to Dr. Wendy Royer. And our next honor roll school board service of 7 years is awarded to Mrs. Patricia Strite.
There you go. Thank you.
Feels like graduation.
There you go.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Yes, I love that. That's something special. Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your service once again, and your checks are in the mail. All right, let's move down to, do we have any public comment this evening?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Now we move down to our student board reports with Alexis and Zachary.
Hello, everybody. Glad to be back. Homecoming was 2 weekends ago, and it went absolutely great. Everybody said the decorations were gorgeous, and just from students all around heard great things. The class of 28 is holding a candy fundraiser for Halloween, and the proceeds will support their class fund. And the art club will be taking a field trip to Washington, D.C. on October 21st. October 9th will be Maine's Maiden Night, which will allow students to enter the Maine soccer and volleyball game for free. And congratulations to Abby Byers, Marissa Mussolino, Tyler Rooney for qualifying on the PIAA District 3 playoffs. And Thursday, October 10th is Mental Health Awareness Day. We would like all students and teachers to wear green, and Student Council and Avidum will be handing out candy and uplifting quotes to students in the morning. Hand it over to Tyler to talk about our safety day on Thursday.
Hi everybody. I'm Zachary Kaiser. Thursday's gonna be safety day. Students will be in their PLT rooms all day, and they will do execute a run, hide, and fight drill. Later in the day, HSI Special Agents Kaiser, Katz, and Zeneva will be presenting on iGuardian, which is a nationwide program sponsored by HSI to prevent fight against the sexual exploitation of children. Its target audience is primarily middle and high schoolers, which is why hopefully they're gonna implement it throughout our school. So.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. And we move to our board reports. First on the agenda, policy committee. Anything from policy?
Yeah, policy committee met on September 26th. We went over there are 5 policies and 1 AR. Talked about adopting Megan's Law policy, did opening exercises, public attendance at school events, capital assets, payment of bills. And discuss more of the details for the first reading tonight.
Okay. And move to academic committee?
Academic committee has not met.
Okay. And facilities will meet on the 15th. Any update?
Yeah, so no updates from facilities. We will meet on Tuesday, October 15th, here at 5:30 p.m. Budget has also not met since last board meeting. We will meet Monday, the 14th. There is a change of time that if you noticed when you walked in that was advertised. We will be meeting at 2 p.m. in this room rather than later that evening. So again, budget is Monday, the 14th at 2 p.m. Facilities, Tuesday, the 15th at 5:30 p.m.
And once again, committee meetings are open to the public. Okay. Thank you. And we move to first item of business, and that is the personnel. Dr. DeShawn.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Yeah, we're seeking your approval for a couple of resignations and appointments. First of all, we regret the resignation of Ms. Preisler over at Fairview. She's done a really nice job over there, but we wish her the best on her new endeavor. There's 4 support staff resignations, and there's 6 support staff appointments. Asking for your approval for 2 coaching appointments, a girls assistant wrestling coach and an assistant football coach. And we have 3 extracurricular positions, one being Amy Staub for the K-5 Special Education Department Coordinator, so we appreciate your support with that. GED teacher and a game club advisor and a substitute staff and school security staff. We're also seeking your approval for Malcolm Cromwell Sidner. We're seeking your approval for him to be special education long-term substitute. He's actually lives here in the community, just moved not too long ago, and we think he'd be a fine addition over here to our special ed department for this coming year. And then last but not least, a medical leave.
Okay. So the motion is to approve the personnel as listed.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, next, virtual speech therapy or therapist agreement.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. So this is not necessarily a new agreement. It is a new individual that it's not an additional position. It is to backfill a position that we had a resignation in. So it's just the renewal of that agreement. As we've indicated in the past, we continue to struggle with speech therapists and getting them on board. Sorry.
Is it? Okay, all right, all right, all right. No way.
Hate that.
All right, so the motion is to, I'm sorry, yep, motion is to approve the speech, virtual speech therapist agreement. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions, comments?
Virtual only.
In this particular case, I believe it is only a virtual option. Right now, in order to cover the bases, we have a combination of in-house speech therapists as well as virtual speech therapists. So, our ideal situation is to hire individuals who are working on site.
Any other questions?
So if you know any speech therapists, let us know. I think there might be some at the hospital that might want speech therapist, school psychologist. Take them.
Okay, any other questions? Right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Hey,
So we have a list of drivers to approve. Dr. Postman?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. So we have drivers here, district drivers that have met the criteria from an insurance perspective. We're asking for approval.
Okay, so the motion is to approve the attached drivers.
Move to approve.
Questions?
Are these all current employees or are these
They should all,
contractors or what?
they should be current employees. So
Okay.
they could be different roles. They could be coaches and things of that nature, but yeah, current employees.
What's due to our insurance? Seems like we approve like 8 or 10 every.
We do. We approve a lot and the names change, especially if we have positions changing. Could be paraprofessionals and coaches and things of that nature by season. So we're approving that, but
Each
it
one's
doesn't really
listed.
affect our insurance because really the insurance is on the vehicles themselves. So what we do is we actually have a criteria. We actually look up the driving records with their permission, of course. And we could put that against a criteria. So many accidents and tickets and things of that nature, then you would not be permitted to drive.
Okay. All right. So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
77 degrees in here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Password.
Okay. And so we move to the first reading of policies, and this is
Oh, that's
several. We have 907.1, 622, 807, 904, 616.
Yeah, so as Mr. Pence had indicated, these are the policies that we reviewed at the last policy meeting. And so essentially we're presenting them to the board for a first reading. Two of them have to do with essentially like safety and security. And the rest, primarily have to do with, finances. And then in honor of the, new legislation indicating that, we would honor, 9/11 with a moment of silence, as well as the ability to uh, provide curricular materials to our teachers to teach on that particular day.
And this is just for discussion.
Right,
So
but I
are
just
there any
op-
questions? Yeah.
Well, I opened up the first one, Megan's Law. Why is the second page almost completely blank? Is there stuff missing?
It's just, no, there's nothing missing.
It says in the event that a Megan's Law offender is a parent to a current student, that parent, we
Blank
just could go
after.
down to
Right.
page
Correct.
3 to,
For
okay,
some reason, when it's saved incorrectly
okay.
with an extra page.
So there's nothing missing. It's
No.
just, this is how we're gonna handle if an offender is a parent of a current student. Okay.
I have a question on the opening exercises, moment of silence and flag displays policy. Underneath page 1, underneath authority, fourth paragraph, there's a bracket there. And then I guess question 1, does that bracket signify anything in terms of optionality? Because I have a issue with the language if it is not optional there.
Yeah, that's an option.
Okay,
It's not checked, so.
okay.
It says shall.
Yes, I have an issue with the word shall versus
Okay.
may.
Okay.
So if the bracket there is optional,
Yes,
And-
could the brackets indicate that this is a policy that came to us from PSBA?
okay,
This is an option they're saying that we can choose to have or not have, because there's not an X in the bracket, we are choosing not to use it.
okay.
Oh,
So then
okay.
when we approve this policy, will that paragraph be
No, it will be removed.
Okay.
the same with the notes there at the bottom?
Correct.
Okay. And then more just an observation, when it comes to the capital assets. On page 3, there's different asset classes, and it talks about useful lives. You know, ironically, one of my coworkers is here and he works in maintenance, for our organization, and so he deals with depreciation of capital assets. Given this schedule, this is something this board and future boards should keep in mind when it comes to budgeting and replacing things. And so this is part of, if we think about in terms of classroom furniture, if we get 15 to 20 years of life, we should keep that in our budget schedule. If we think about computer hardware, 3 to 5 years. I think right now, Mr. Erickson has us on a 4-year schedule with our one-to-one laptops. And so, as we think about this policy and the depreciation schedule, one of the things we talked about facilities last time was the stadium field and the turf. If we have a 15, 20-year lifespan, we should be planning or saving for that 15 to 20 years to replace it. We've sort of done that in terms of our vehicles, where we've tried to get on a schedule regularly, replacing a vehicle a year, essentially. But I think this is a helpful thing in terms of as we think about budgeting across the district, particularly when it comes to facilities and capital assets. So I appreciate this list and this schedule here.
I'm not familiar with the current policy. Is this list new? Or is it just the highlighted that's new? Like this chart was not in the current policy?
Already in there.
I'm just using this as
Yeah,
a.
it's just a reference. It's not like
Right, we're not beholden to this, I don't think, but I
Yeah,
think
it's
it's a
just-
helpful reference.
Yeah, because
There's examples at the top.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I apologize that it's not highlighted the things that were changed within the policy to have a better indication. When I put it out for second, I'll make sure to highlight. I believe the only thing that changed within this policy was the $10,000 under capital assessment addition. It was 2,000 and it got changed to 10,000.
Oh,
I
okay.
think Dr. Holtzman can verify that.
Right. And what that does is that matches up with the uniform grant guides for federal funds now. So it matches that capitalized. So if we have something relatively smaller than that, we don't have to capitalize it. It doesn't really affect us from a depreciation perspective because we don't really consider depreciation in terms of a budget except for food service, which is a different part of the budget itself. But basically, this does allow us to reduce a little bit of the workload. So now we don't have to capitalize and keep track of those assets. They can be treated as supplies, for example.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Actually, this really isn't a question about the policy. But last week I was in a conference in Denver, Texas. And Dallas, Texas. Let me try the right city. Anyway, we heard ping, 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 ping. Actually, it was the Megan's Law. I mean, it was somebody who was abducted. And so then my husband's phone ping. And I turned to him and I said, didn't you turn your phone on? He said, no, it's on silent. And it still pings. Now, do our students get these things?
Are you sure?
In the classroom?
Were they Amber Alerts?
They were Amber Alerts.
Amber Alerts.
And not Megan's Law.
Not Megan's
but
Law, they- Amber
It
Alerts.
reminds me of Amber Alerts.
Mhm.
Do our students get these? Are they
no.
interfering with our classrooms?
I didn't know they would ping if your phone was on silent.
yeah.
Nope.
They
They
do?
ping if your
Yeah, they do.
cell phone is on silent because I got angry.
Okay.
Anyway,
It's
I'm
more than a
just bringing
ping,
that
it's
up
usually-
right now,
Right.
that, students who are sitting in classrooms, if they're
They
getting.
might have their
Amber
phone
Alerts,
silent and
You
get
know what?
pings.
Disrupting,
Really good.
but
just
that's,
said it, I
that's a
Huh.
question for the whole future. It's just the Amber Alerts that brought this up. Or rather this whole
That's a good question.
scenario.
Well, wouldn't it, I mean, that's a good question when one happens in this area. I don't know.
I know, it was very, very. I know, it was just ping, ping,
I don't-
at all at different
Yeah.
times throughout
Mr. Knoll,
this whole.
do you have any frame of reference? We have an assistant principal here.
From last
You
year, I
have-
think there was
You
even
have
a
to come to
time
the
when they had
podium. You have to come to the podium.
I believe even last year, there was a time where the National Emergency Response
Everyone did it.
scheduled a specific time. So those types of alerts are gonna go off on everybody's phone.
No.
I think they even kick them on if they're off. I'm not totally sure about that, but
Wow.
for the most part, like if a phone's on, whether it's on silent or not, they're gonna get that alert
Huh.
if it's in that area and it affects that.
Yeah, but
that
this was,
particular
this
situation.
was an Amber Alert that went off different times, like within a half an hour.
Yeah,
What's
I would think it would be true for our students as well. If they're sitting in our classrooms, we're not getting them as much as I guess more urban areas are, but definitely would be true for us. If it's impacting this specific area, it's gonna go off for all students.
It's just a question for the future,
Yeah.
and it really doesn't have to do with this decision
think
and
we-
policy tonight. It just brought this to mind that, oh gosh, if I were teaching and
But on
my
the other
students had
hand,
everything turned off,
Yeah,
it would still
teachers are
happen.
gonna go off too.
on the other hand, if someone's
Yeah.
missing, one of those students might know where
Correct.
they're at.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's-
true.
Well, that is true.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry. Okay.
Any other
Sorry, Mr.
questions?
I just have a,
All right, no problem.
if it would be okay with the board for the second reading, the Megan, I didn't check them, the Megan's Law policy refers to parent guardians in the first paragraph, and then further, for the rest of the policy, it just says parents. Maybe we could just make that change and have it all of them say parents/guardians.
Oh,
Mhm.
Okay. All right, so we move to financial business.
So item 1 and 2, or do you want to include 3 as well?
You can do all three. It's your,
Okay, all
your
right.
prerogative, sir. Yep, thank you. So we have purchase orders and bills. That's for the general fund as well as the cafeteria and requisitions. Out of that, we also have property assessment changes. Those come from the county tax office. So whenever somebody is appealing a property assessment, that goes through their process and then comes back to you for approval and review as well. And then finally, we have the treasurer's report. Of course, this is the time of the year when we have a lot of the property and real estate taxes, and that's why the numbers look a little bit better at this stage, and that will continue to go downward then as we progress throughout the school year.
Okay, so the motion is to approve the financial business items 1, 2, 3, and 3. Is there a motion?
Second.
Okay, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Right, and now we move to Clayton Cabinet comments. Any comments?
Let me see if I can talk without coughing. I apologize. So, all the parents that are in the audience, you are definitely very important. We're glad that you're here and you're supporting your child. I do want to recognize, and you'll probably be embarrassed, Mr. Travis Kaiser. You're in the audience. Okay, and this individual is the gentleman who has been presenting, to us as a district about cybersecurity. And so we're very blessed that we have someone within our community that is providing education to our parents, to our teachers, and hopefully moving forward to our learners. So it's wonderful to have him in our community and to provide that support and to hopefully collectively as a group continue to educate our young people to make wise choices online. Thank you. But everyone, other parents, thank you for being here as well. Appreciate you.
And any other Clayton Cabinet comments? Okay, board member comments. Anyone?
So Kaiser, any relationship to the student sitting down here to the left? All right, I wasn't sure if you wanted to claim him or not.
You mean the one with the red face?
Pretty cool.
Hey, any other board comments for this
I
evening?
just
Yes.
wanted to note, I got a flash from one of the newspapers I read that I think 10 or 12 states will file the suit against TikTok
Oh.
for rotting the minds of our youth. So we'll see where that goes.
Interesting. And we did join in with other school districts in the lawsuit against some of the social media companies. And, I'm not I don't think any of us are anti-social media. But with that huge platform comes responsibility. And if parents are doing their part, I believe that it's up to the social media companies, as most of a lot of the school districts around our state, they should be doing more to protect kids, whether it's the identity from harassment and all these things that go on these social media platforms. So, other comments? All right. So we'll wrap this up. And once again, I'm gonna once again thank the students, 9th grade civic students, for coming out. Please come back. Okay. All right. And with that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Good evening.